So welcome to the show. Hey, guy.
Hey, how are you, man?
Doing well, man.
I like the way you just jammed on the brakes. I felt like I was flying out of a 787, and then all of a sudden, I found myself in a flower bed.
Man, this is surreal. Like, to have you in here. Like, I've always imagined, like, I was going to interview you, like, or I was going to die trying. But I thought I was going to be on the phone, and to see you, like, in front of me, like, what is that, like a foot away?
Dude, man, I could have bumped into you at Whole Foods. That was a great setup. It's an incredible empire you got here set up.
Well, we just love local music, man, and our goal is to try our best to support it by any ways necessary. And I always tell my guys, anyone that works for me,
right,
we're servants.
Right,
we're servants to this community. And that's the only way we're going to do it.
Hey, I have a saying on my rap station radio shows. I'm like, we have a section called the Glocal section, which we play hip-hop music from around the world. Also, we play it also in the local. And we say if the community doesn't support its local artists, you can't expect the artist to support or protect the community.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest crime of arts and culture for musicians and music in the United States. Zero support of local artists as far as using the tools of the locale. And, and right now you single-handedly have chosen to differ from that.
Yeah, and the way we look at it is if we don't nurture our community and our local talent, then we're going to lose music.
Well, I don't think you're going to lose it, but you know what?
The purity of it.
But one thing that sports is supported all the way from the 4th to 5th grade. You see young people playing, football or soccer or baseball, and they're nurtured, they're developed, they go through the middle school and the high schools, and then if they get through that and they're excited and good enough, as they say, they go on to the next level. So they figure out how to nurture athletes at a very early age, but musicians and people who is in the arts kind of like get shunned or overlooked. And it's easy for somebody to say, oh, man, they're big, famous, and, and they packing up staples, in the L.A. Forum or whatever. And so they're artists that we all want to pay attention to. Or, oh, wow, they got, a giant piece of graphic on the side of a building. So that's somebody we all want to get around and salute. But it all comes from somewhere, and you got to support the growth of it from the seed, and then you got to nourish the seed and water the seed. And I'm a firm believer that arts and culture is the universal language of the planet. While governments like to split people up, arts and culture brings us together. So you got to start from the seed of local.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that.
Yep.
I've noticed that you've taken an interest in Ventura County music. Yeah,
well, anywhere I happen to be, I'm going to take an interest on the surroundings. So, yeah, this is where I'm at. So.
How do you like it so far?
I think Ventura, and I've told this to Rissa and Mary, that, Ventura could be like, in 3 years, it could be like Austin, Texas was in 1994 or 5. A hotbed for talent. It's strategically located. I mean, really, it's not like you're in the middle of, and I'm not saying it's any disrespect to Southern Illinois or Kansas, but I'm saying that you're centrally located with a beautiful terrain of the ocean, and you're located not too far out Los Angeles, but far enough. And if you want to take the 101 up to San Francisco, you go through here, or the 5 or the 101 will take you there. So this is one of the places that so much traffic goes through, and so musicians, and there's enough people who are willing to come here and camp out and check out festivals or clubs or any kind of venue that are new artists that no matter where they live, they could be as far as, Bakersfield, they'll come to Ventura to get down and camp out here and play a few places for a few days. So I look at it as being a place for the 21st century. Remember, Ventura already had a few musical musical eras, like in the 50s and also in the 70s. But, a musical era could hit a spot where it starts to seed and sprout again if it's nurtured. And you're the right man at the right time for the right thing. Music now, it's you can create it and now send it across the world without going down to L.A. looking for a record deal or just looking for a radio play, because everybody can get everything. Now it's about how much everybody gets together, stands behind it, unite, come together, and stand behind each other to make it a big, rounded scene.
What do you think? Because it's funny that you said 3 years.
Like, yeah, specific. 1,000 days.
After September 9th, I've sat my group down. I said 3 years.
Yeah.
I looked them in the eyes. I said 3 years.
1,000.
Or we die trying.
1,000 days.
What do you think it needs? Like, what can we do to boost it? Because the talent's here. The community is on board with it.
Right. And you got a major media city not far away. Look, I'm from Roosevelt, Long Island. I'm from Long Island. Mm-hmm. We created a scene in Nassau County and Suffolk County in a genre of hip-hop that was undeniable. Now, we was in the shadows of Manhattan and the Bronx and Queens and Brooklyn, but that shadow eventually became something that was a force to be reckoned, because it was easy for us to get to the city and easy for us to have a scene where everybody wanted to come to. Everybody wanted to come to the gigs and concerts we had in Nassau. Mm-hmm. So I consider this as being similar. It's a couple counties up, it's a couple valleys up, and anybody that's down there will easily want to come up here and get down and do their thing, just like anybody up here can go down there, but also know that they have a base. So I think one of the most important things is online. The www does not lie. When you show that, let's say a visual thing is important. So when you show that, like today, when the artist got down today, and you showing the back harbor with the boats and the unbelievable pretty ass day in October 21st, right? And people with short sleeves, everybody want to be there, especially if you back east or in a hemisphere that's cold. You be like, yo, they got it going on out there. Now, people out here wouldn't notice that because you take it for granted where you're at. Mm-hmm. So, but when you actually let people know where you're at and show it to the rest of the world, people will say, wow, I wouldn't mind being there for 48 hours.
Right.
So that's what you have to do. You have to use the World Wide Web worldwide and show everybody your attributes, your plus signs, your advantages, your pros, And when you talk about artists getting down, it doesn't matter how big any crowd is. It's not the quantity, it's the quality.
Yeah.
It could be 5 people, but if they all screaming and throwing their hands in the air, it's infectious. Somebody want to be number 6 and 7 to join. So you got to have an inner core belief in what you do, and understand this. It's like no matter where you are in the world, you're the center of the world anyway. Because that's your vantage point. So the artist that got down today, everything anywhere else starts the same way. I tell that when I'm going to Kentucky. I tell that when I'm going to Indonesia. I tell that when I'm going to South Africa or Finland. And I'm saying anywhere you start, it's going to be where you at. So make it happen. And it's different from before. You can make it happen and let everybody know. And don't be dismayed by numbers. Oh, I tweeted something out and I got 2 people to respond. You don't pay attention to metrics like that. You make sure that you pay attention to the quality of your analytics and metrics. How committed are you to get within the core of their fandom or their fanaticism, to make them interested, to fill their time up with something that you got instead of filling their time up with something that distracts them with garbage. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing is, stick together and back each other. That's a good thing. I was telling somebody this the other day matter of fact, I told this yesterday at the Hammer on Twitter in LL, because yesterday Tupac was nominated for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. Tupac forever to me is like a little brother, you know what I'm saying? But I said the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, for them to not have LL Cool J in and have Tupac going as the first soloist, I mean, there's a generational flaw in there. Mm-hmm. You got to have the alpha before the omega. And so I got into talking, and I said, well, you know what, back in the 80s, you had to perform in front of people to get your audience one by one. You couldn't rely on videos and MP3s or CDs or movie parts and stuff like that. So Hammer also, I said, Hammer, I put in as a comment, I said when we hit the stage, we was backing each other's legacy, which is important, but we also went on the stage claiming that this is war. I'm out to eradicate you on the stage, but we had each other's back. We back each other's legacy, and we knew that the camaraderie of backing and supporting each other propels the whole thing forward and upward. So no matter what level that you're at, supporting your peers does not mean that you're trying to take them out in performance. You play together, but also you play to win.
Yeah.
So